Hi, I'm Lance Robbins, and we're back with part two of the Combating Burnout session, part of our Money Matters series here with University of Idaho Extension. And in the first session, we talked about an introduction to burnout, understanding what it is, understanding some of the risks, who it affects most, realizing that entrepreneurs are quite susceptible to this. And now we're going to get into some real practical tips that we can apply to help keep ourselves from falling into this trap, having burnout derail our new businesses and deplete our opportunity to generate wealth and create value for the people that we serve. So the first thing that we want to talk about is rest ethic. We talk a lot about work ethic. We want people to perceive us as having a strong work ethic. We value work ethic in our employees. It's something to be desired in our culture. But as much as we intentionally make an effort to work hard, it's important to, at times, make an effort to rest hard. You've heard the term work hard, play hard. Sometimes rest hard is important too. So think about yourself as an entrepreneur. If you're like me, you might feel like you're always on, right? You need to be responsive to a customer call, to an email. But when are you not reachable? Is there a time in a given day where you can't be reached? What about a week? Is there a day of a week that you can't be reached? What about in a year? Is there a time period that you aren't available for your business in a given year? If you're saying no more than you're saying yes, I'd encourage you to take a look at this. Do you have hobbies? Do you have activities that you can recharge yourself by engaging in? Do you have a strategy for rest? Rest is really important to the longevity of your career and mitigating your risk for burnout. So as much as you have a really strong work ethic, start thinking a little bit about your rest ethic. Time management. Now, time management is a practice. It's a skill that can be learned. It's sometimes called a meta skill, like a big skill, right? And it unlocks some of your other really great abilities. Our days, our weeks are filled with requests for our time. We're bombarded by external requests for our time. We're bombarded by our own desire to spend time on a variety of things. And so managing our time well can really help reduce the prolonged exposure to stress. Stress, for me, a lot of times feels like the response to the disorganization of the demands on my time and energy. So one thing that I like to do, and that you can do too here, is use a calendar. I like to use Google's calendar, whatever calendar you use to set up your email workspace, whether that's through Microsoft or Google or Apple. Use your calendar to time box. So what do I mean by time box? Time boxing is a practice where you assign certain times of the day for an activity that's important enough for you to put on your calendar and protect that time for it. So if you're like me, the temptation is to, whenever we get a notification on our phones, to check that email, check that notice. What is it all about? And we spend a lot of time context switching. I was working on this project and now I'm into this. And then I got a notice, I got a text, I got an email, and I jump back to my phone. And before I know it, I haven't spent a lot of time focusing in any one area. So one thing that really productive folks do is that they'll batch process their emails or messages or things that are coming inbound to them. That means I have a blocked time a couple times a day where I'm going to work through my inbox, process all of my inbound. I give myself, let's say, 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes around noon, and 30 minutes at the end of my day. Maybe that's too much for you. Maybe that's not enough. But I try to try not to spend time outside of those time boxes, because outside of those time boxes, I'm going to be focused on something else that's really important. And I don't want to be interrupted by an email. Some of the other things that you might want to protect on your calendar: outreach. If you're doing sales and marketing for yourself, you have outreach to do. Create a time on your calendar, protect that. It's important enough to be on your calendar. Creating content. Administrative work. You have taxes to take care of. You have accounting. You have bookkeeping. What about lunch? How many of us don't really put lunch on our calendars, make a plan for it? We work straight through it. We grab a sandwich and sit at our desk. Exercise. Is there a time in your day that you have blocked for exercise and work cannot overrun that? It's an important task and you should make time for it. There's probably a number of other things in your life that are important enough to take up space on your calendar. So that way, when another stimulus comes in asking for that time, your calendar tells you no, you don't have time for that right now. This other task is more important and deserves your focus and deserves your energy. And in the long run, you'll have more focus and more energy for the important tasks that you create space for on your calendar and subject yourself to that organization. Okay, some other things we can do. Talked about earlier in our first session how many entrepreneurs are high performers. And for a lot of us, high performers, we don't recognize the things that we accomplish very well. It feels like it's never quite enough. There's always the next thing we need to accomplish, the next thing we need to do, chasing that satisfaction of a job well done and completion. Michael Phelps here with all the medals around his neck are just never quite enough. Oh, and you're not seeing that image. It's not coming through for you. That's unfortunate. The image that's intended to be here that's not loading is the Olympic swimmer Michael Phelps with all of his gold medals around his neck, and it is quite the stack. But you should create for yourself a tracker of the things that you accomplish. Maybe not Olympic gold medals, but there's things that you're proud of. Maybe that's incorporating your business, filing your LLC, getting your name on the register. Right? It's something to be proud of. Take note of it. Did you deliver a service or a product and a customer said something nice to you about that? Take a second and write it down. Make a recording. Do something, right, to commemorate that specific accomplishment. Are there goals that you set out at the beginning of the year? Now, as we draw close to the end of the year, did you hit any of those? Record that. Make a note so you can look back at times you feel discouraged or feel like you're not accomplishing anything, and you can say, oh, okay, I did accomplish something. I am making progress. I am on track. This is going well, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. Something else that you can do. Another practical piece of advice. Utilize automation and artificial intelligence to prevent burnout and make your business more efficient. So, a secret is that I used artificial intelligence to generate this entire slide. The image on the left, instead of going and searching through Google for an image I liked, downloading and uploading it, the tool that I use to create all my slide deck presentations, which is Canva, by the way. If you're going to be making any pitches or you have presentations to deliver to customers, I recommend Canva. It has a native AI generator, and it generated this image for me based on a short 5-word prompt that I gave to it. Some other things that you can use AI for in automation is, first of all, the content you'll see here was generated from a prompt that I gave to ChatGPT. And I wanted to do this exercise just for this presentation, just to show that the amount of energy to put into generating this slide for this presentation was greatly reduced by using AI. So if you've got repetitive tasks like merging contact lists, marketing workflows, a lot of those things can be automated, something that you don't have to do manually using Zapier or Make. Really great tools. Save yourself a bunch of time. What can you automate? What applications or platforms could be talking to each other that are not today by using an automation tool like Zapier or Make? AI-powered content creation. Draft your social media posts, write long-form blog content, emails for outbound marketing, presentations for the University of Idaho. Use AI-powered content creators. Give it your ideas and edit the results. Give it your voice. Saves a bunch of time and mental energy. Automate calendar scheduling. How many times have you sent an email back and forth to someone who's a prospect, a buyer, a potential lead that you want to have a conversation with, and it took 3 or 4 email exchanges to find a time that worked for both of you? use Calendly, or you can book.me to send a link to your calendar. A lot of you folks may know this already, but if you don't, then they can just click on that, go to your calendar. And if you're not using a calendar like this yet, use Google, use Microsoft, use Apple to set up a calendar and integrate it with one of these applications. Cut out the back and forth emails and get your prospects who are going to pay your bills by buying your service or your product onto your calendar and book those appointments. There's a host of other things that automation and machine learning and artificial intelligence can do for your business that will cut out a lot of the busy work that takes up your time. And like we talked about in time management, you don't have time for a lot of that stuff. You're an entrepreneur. You're a team of one. You're a solopreneur. So let the technology that exists now do a lot of this busy work and save your energy for the things that are going to drive your business forward in a strategic way. Setting realistic goals. This is a big one because a lot of us look around and we see others who appear to be overnight successes, and they're doing something that we think we could do too. And we have expectations that we're going to achieve those levels of success in a time period that might not be realistic for us. So first of all, just set a goal that applies to you. This is your goal. It's not someone else's goal. It's not someone else's goal for you. Set the goals that matter to you and have realistic timelines. In business, especially new businesses, things take longer than expected, right? That big customer you're trying to land, those sales cycles are going to take longer than you probably expect they will. Getting those responses back from a survey, getting the following to your social media accounts, the stuff just takes a while. So be realistic about your timelines. Build in some extra time, even on delivery of projects, things you already have sold. Build yourself some time to make sure that you're able to reach your goals there. Be comfortable saying no to things that aren't going to help you achieve your goals. A lot of people are going to ask you for your service for free. A lot of people are going to ask you to spend time giving them feedback or reviewing their idea. Great, be generous, but be comfortable also saying no when your time is stretched thin and they're not things that are helping you achieve your goals. It's okay to do that. Lastly, and certainly not least importantly, build a support network. This is important. So I have a friend of mine who began his fractional career at the same time I began mine. And he and I spent a lot of those early months in that first year messaging each other back and forth. How did you do this? What do you think about this? Can you review this for me? Can you give me some feedback? I need a sanity check. Having that person who was going through an early stage business launch with me, even though it was his business, not mine, facing some of the same struggles and same trials was really encouraging. I have a peer who he and I have had a 6:30 a.m. conversation for, I want to say 4 or 5 years running now, maybe more. Every week we talk for 30, 45 minutes to catch up on business, what challenges we're facing, and think of ways that we can encourage one another in business. So find somebody that you can connect with who understands the journey you're going through. Maybe someone who's in the same stage that you're in or someone who's gone before you, and lean on them for some support. Maybe you also could find a group of business leaders, peers in your industry. There's a group here. I'm in Bonner County here in northern Idaho. There's a group called North Idaho Dads in Business, and it's a group of entrepreneurs, and they meet monthly. And that's been a fun thing to check in with from time to time. Maybe there's an industry association that you can join that has meetups where you can find other people, right? And we talked about this being a digital business course and how remote and digital entrepreneurs are more susceptible to burnout than traditional in-office folks are. So get outside of your office space and meet people in real life as much as you can here. Also, outside of work, find community. Right? What are some things that you can engage with people outside of work? So if that's a group around a hobby or your faith community, whatever it is, find a way to connect with folks and build meaningful community inside and outside of work. So just to bring this all together here, The thing to remember is that no one else is going to take care of your mental health. This is up to you. You are the one responsible for that. And if you don't have your health, physical or mental, the amount of money you can generate as an entrepreneur is meaningless. So listen to your body when it's telling you we're tired. Leverage technology to take care of and outsource those meaningful, mundane tasks as much as possible. Celebrate your wins, even the small ones. We need to remember when we made those first little victories and look back on those. Think about the things that people said, the feedback that you got that was positive, encouraging, pushing you forward. Prioritize your rest and don't go alone on this journey. So I hope this has been helpful. You're welcome to find me here if you have questions or would like to follow up. This is my email, lance@lancehrobbins.com, and my website. You can also find me on LinkedIn, and I look forward to hearing from you. And until next time, take care.